In business tonight, a wave of optimism sweeping through global stock markets after China unveiled a range of policy easing measures in a bid to stimulate the world's #2 economy. Mainland Chinese benchmarks rallied, Shanghai Composite and the Shenzhen Component both surging more than 4% there. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index jumping also more than 4% to a 4-month high. The Hang Seng Mainland Property Index jumped as much as 5%. Leading the charge was mainland-listed developers. Now, they are some of the biggest movers. China Overseas Land and Longfor Group closing with gains of more than 5%. China Resources adding more than 6%. Over to Japan's Nikkei, that rose to a 3-week closing high, and South Korean shares extended gains for a 6th straight session. TAIEX also managing modest gains, but Singapore's STI bucking regional peers. Indian indices reached new record highs for the 4th consecutive session. European stocks and U.S. equity futures also being buoyed by China's central bank monetary stimulus measures. The pan-European stock 600 up nearly 1%, led by sectors exposed to China, including miners, luxury goods makers and automakers. China's stimulus package includes an injection of about $140 billion of long-term liquidity into the financial market. There are also cuts to the bank's reserve requirement ratio, mortgage rate cuts and support for the stock market. Authorities are trying to stem flagging economic growth by boosting domestic demand while digging the country out of a housing crisis. CNA's Tan Se-hui with this report.
A significant package to inject some much-needed confidence into the economy. That's what some analysts are calling China's latest round of stimulus. Among the moves, a cut to the reserve requirement ratio, or RRR, which is the amount of cash the commercial banks must hold in reserve. Also, lowering interest rates of existing mortgage loans, which would benefit 150 million people across the country, according to the governor for the People's Bank of China.
那么从宏观层面来说呢，经济回稳向好的态势呢将进一步巩固和增强。那么我们这一次人民行出台的一个比较强的这样的一个货币政策，它将会有助于支持实体经济，促进居民消费和提振市场信心。第二呢，就是我们的国际收支方面呢，还是保持的基本平稳。 上半年的经常账户的顺差与 GDP 的比是在1.1%，应该说处在一个比较合理的区间。
Markets rallied on Tuesday after China unveiled the measures, despite no specific dates for when they'll take effect. But analysts say the moves were expected, following the gloomy economic outlook, which could affect growth targets.
We do think that there is a good chance that China will hit the 5% growth target for 2024. But again, talking about growth targets is one thing. They are also looking out for quality of growth and also what potentially happens in 2025. Because as of now, they will not just be wondering, oh, are we going to hit 2024's target? They will be thinking about what growth target to set in 2025.
Amid the ailing property market, authorities have also announced a cut in the minimum down payment requirement to 15% on all types of homes. That's as a number of measures, including removing home purchase restrictions, fail to boost confidence.
同时，我们也指导银行保险机构积极配合化解房地产和地方政府债务风险。当前，我国金融业，尤其是 大型金融机构经营稳健，风险可控。伴随房地产、地方债以及中小金融机构3大风险逐步化解和缓释，金融风险正在稳步收敛。我们会坚决守牢不发生系统性金融风险的底线。
Some analysts believe these measures came a little too late, but they say better late than never. Yet at the same time, to sustain the stock market rally, they say China needs stronger policies, and this includes a hard crackdown on fraud and stronger support from state-backed funds.
the Chinese economy requires a far more direct and far more broad housing support to help them consume more goods, and not just goods that the Chinese government wants them to consume, but also in terms of services as well.
Chinese authorities also acknowledged that major economies have entered a rate-cutting cycle, including the U.S. Federal Reserve last week, but say uncertainties remain in the external environment. Tan Sihui, CNA, Beijing.